Hello and welcome to Women in Retail Talks. I'm Christina Stidham, Associate Content Editor at the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, and today I'm joined by Sandra Mackerham, founder and CEO of The Collective Child, a personal styling platform and subscription box service for luxury children's wear. The brand boasts mega influencers, celeb moms, female CEOs, and many more among its list of obsessed members. We're going to talk about a couple of different things today, but really dive into subscription commerce and how it's changing retail. So Sandra, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Christina.
I gave a brief introduction about you, but could you start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I'm originally from South America. I was actually born and raised in Venezuela. And I've been in New York for the past 10 years. And I've really spent most of my time in the fashion industry. I was at Vogue Paris for a brief while before going to Bloomingdale's, where I spent really the majority of my career in multiple roles, both in buying and planning prior to launching The Collective Child.
Awesome. That's a really stacked career. And let's talk about The Collective Child. How did the idea for the brand start, and how has it grown over the years?
So midway through my time at Bloomingdale's, I started to notice rapid changes in consumer behaviors, and I increasingly felt that the industry wasn't adapting fast enough. And so at the time, there were a couple of platforms that were focusing on personalized shopping, and they were making some significant gains. And so Stitch Fix was talking to women, and Trunk Club was talking to men.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I wanted to be at the forefront of that innovation. And no one was talking to moms. And to me, this platform really lent itself for convenience. And I was surrounded by working mothers, and I felt that this would really service them particularly well. So I launched The Collective Child, really to simplify the shopping experience for new moms and to give them convenient access to the best fashion out there.
Yeah, if there's anything that moms need, it's definitely a little bit more convenience factor on their everyday needs there.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. You saw the white space there. Nobody was talking to moms. Nobody was providing subscription for children's wear. And you founded The Collective Child. So as you mentioned, the retail industry has seen many subscription businesses popping up, and consumers love joining them, love becoming members. Why do you think subscription is the next evolution in retail in general, and also in the luxury segment, since you're in the luxury children's wear segment?
So I think when I think about subscription companies, I usually think of, let's say, commodity product subscription-driven company. So I think it makes a lot of sense for, let's say, toothbrush or white t-shirts that you need on a regular basis. Where I think subscriptions have evolved is in the luxury space. And this is why I prefer calling them memberships, because the way that consumers are shopping isn't necessarily locked into a particular cadence or a particular, let's say, a dollar amount that they're spending, but rather more of a curated experience that comes to your home, but at your own choosing. And so why does this sort of make sense in this space? So if you think of what the department store model is, it really provides two big value propositions. The first one is efficiency. So you could go to one place and find all of your favorite brands under one roof. And the second is expertise. So whether there was a sales representative in that particular store that you had a personal relationship with, or you trusted that the department store was going to carry the best brands of the season, there's just this level of trust that you had. However, with the advent of the internet, that model was flipped on its head, right? So all of a sudden, internet was winning on the efficiency angle, and it sort of democratized consumers' ability to discover brands. But that also came with a slew of challenges where consumers were now having to scroll through multiple pages to find the product that they wanted. And you have scroll fatigue, and also something that's called buyer paralysis, where you start lots of little carts. I know I do. and never end up like actually completing that purchase. And so that left a huge open space for these personalized shopping platforms, where you can have the convenience factor of having the product delivered to your home, but you also have that personal touch, where there's another person on the other side that's curating and making recommendations for you.
Great, and that leads right into my next question about how the personalized shopping service at The Collective Child works. Can you tell us about how those curated selections are actually chosen for members? Is it a combination of a team of human stylists and then technology backing up the recommendations, or how do you guys figure that out?
So technology is really important, obviously, for this model, but we like to consider ourselves as human first. So let's say the touch point is always going to be a person, but we are technology enabled. So what that means is we're using technology and relying on technology to optimize and create an efficient process to select product. But ultimately, the person that's driving those selections is a person. So if you think of fashion or the business of fashion, I usually like to think of it as two sides of the brain, right? One is math, and the other is a creative process. And so that's what we'd like to mimic in our technology platform. We want to make sure that we allow for creative input and that art, but we also want to make sure that we have some numbers behind the decision-making process, because we are capturing valuable data points from our consumer base that enable that process as well.
Definitely. And just a follow-up question there, as far as when members sign up and join The Collective Child and these stylists start picking out their clothing, are they assigned like a specific stylist who they work with throughout the duration of their membership, or is it more of like a collective gathering of curation effort?
So I actually love that you use the word collective gathering. So we are a collective, 100%. So we are not a one-to-one ratio. We like to consider ourselves as one entity. We have sufficient information from our members where it can be styled by more than one person, and that took a lot of work internally to make sure that we're guaranteeing the quality of product curation for our members across the board. So we don't actually function on a one-to-one basis. We like to consider ourselves as a collective team that can provide the same level of quality and service to all of our members.
Great. Yeah, that does sound like another aspect where technology would come into play and be super important to help you all stay, all the stylists stay kind of recommending the same thing based on one person's style guide, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely technology, but also culture. So we work very, very hard on the back end to make sure that our team is trained, that they understand why we're buying the brands that we're buying, and how we're seeing them being styled for the different variations of our members. So I think it's important to emphasize the culture behind how we train our people.
That's great. And my next question for you, Sandra, is what are a few best practices that you could give to other retailers, be it a big box retailer or a smaller startup company who might be just starting their first foray into subscription or membership service, or for the big box retailers thinking about experimenting with membership?
Well, a couple of things worked really well for us. So the first one is inventory management. So I spent a lot of time, obviously, training within the industry, and it was really important for me to get that background to make sure that the way that I was building the model emphasized on profitability and fast turning inventory. So making sure that you're thinking through the model in an efficient way, and analyzing what the right metrics for that is really, really important. And the second part is really branding, right? So for us, we don't have a store, that you're walking into and understanding what this brand is. And we also don't really have a product assortment visible to our membership base. So we spent a lot of time trying to think through how we wanted to present ourselves as a brand to a luxury consumer. So whether it was through social media or our website or our logo or the boxes that we used and the packaging, our handwritten notes to our members, how do we essentially communicate what our brand is about without a physical space and without the ability to actually showcase the product that we are going to ship her? So that was definitely something really, really important that we spent a lot of time working through.
Great. Yeah, those are some great tips for somebody who might not have experience doing subscription or membership based. It's really important to try to figure out how that business model is going to, like if they already have a set physical space or retail model that they're already working with, adding this subscription business model is like a whole other game. So those are great tips. And my last question for you, Sandra, is what are your future plans for growing the Collective Child? Where do you see the brand going? And as far as an industry, thoughts on where other subscription-based apparel retailers could be going?
So we're actually really, really excited about some exciting things that happened this year. When we launched, we had established a wait list, and so we were able to move through a big portion of our wait list this year. And this fall, actually, we are launching extended sizing. So one of the best things about our brand is that we're really, really sticky, and most of our members have been with us since the very beginning, and they've outgrown our product assortment. So this fall, we're launching sizes up to 10 years old so that we can maintain that relationship with our current member and add, obviously, a new membership base that is out there. And another really exciting part is we're actually focused quite a bit on sustainability, and it's really come from our membership base. It's important for us to make sure that we're offering sustainable brands and a product assortment that's exciting, but is a little bit more conscious to the environment. So we're definitely focusing a lot on brand assortment, product assortment that's more sustainable for fall. And big picture, I would say, we've done a really, really great job of establishing ourselves within the children's wear luxury market segment, but we do think a lot about the luxury segment in general. And so how big can the model be outside of children's wear? How do we expand and service our membership base outside of their kids? And so that's definitely something that's top of mind as we continue to think through our scale and growth.
Okay, great. Well, that is my last question for you. It's all the time that we have on this episode, but thank you so much, Sandra, for joining me today on this episode of Women in Retail Talks. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at wirlc.com/podcast for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.